To remind me that okay, I'll look like give me a call.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. It is Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and my guest is in the green room. I tell you, I'm so excited. We got another legend on the show today, and if I do it right, he might tell us some stories that we might not be able to get no place else. So I'm so excited. So let me get my announcements out the way so we can get him on the air live with us. The first thing I like to do every time I go live is give a shout out to my mentor. Dr. Hunt has been with me 30 plus years, and if you've been with anybody 30 plus years, I tell you, that's a blessing. And I tell you, he has been a blessing to me and my family. Okay. So every chance I get, I always shout him out and send encouraging words his way. And I tell you, if you don't have a mentor, you better get you one. Okay. Because they're invaluable. And pray for them and keep them lifted up and keep them encouraged as long as you can. All right. So now I want to invite everybody to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. When you get over there, please scroll down and take a look at all of my advertisers. My advertisers make it possible for me to be able to do what we do here. We have a few of them listed here: RRJ Webb, Sir Synergy, Port Again Sam, and Prince Hunter Financial Group. If you are interested in doing anything as far as building a website, fixing a website, RRJ Webb is the person to call. He can help fix broken websites. Sir Synergy, if you are interested in getting in with the green wave of solar panels and making your house energy efficient, you want to reach out to Sir Synergy because they can help you save money on your electric bill. Port Again Sam, that's my man there. I tell you, if you like wine and spirits from all over the world, he brings it in right here to Chicago. And I promise you, once you start visiting Sam, you will never ever want to go to a retail outlet ever again. He brings in specialty wines and spirits. So you will definitely find your favorite, whether it's dry, sweet, cognac, whatever it may be. He's got an opportunity for you to find something that you like. And last but not least, Prince Hunter Financial Group. If you are interested in learning how to do the stock market or the Forex market, he is offering 4 free classes. 4 free classes. Hit on any one of the banners. It'll take you directly to each one of their websites. And I promise you, you will, man, we've already vetted them out, so you ain't got to figure out who they are. We know who they are. They're going to get you blessed. So check out any of them, and you will not be disappointed. Well, like I said in the beginning, I've got a friend, a brother, who has been, on this planet longer than anybody I know. Him and Methuselah have been around a long time. I tell you, I think Methuselah was like 1,000 years old. Well, Sam must be like 999. And he
Thanks
is
a lot.
he is my brother. He is my friend, and I promise you, he has been just a blessing to be a friend in my life, and I welcome him to the show again. Thank you, Mr. Sam Chatman. Welcome back.
You're welcome. So it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, man. Look, I think the last time you were on the show, we were still where was we at, man? We was over there on
Right
High Park, South Shore, right?
on South Shore, right? 71st and South Shore.
Yeah, we was over there, and you was down the hall doing your show, on Club Stepping, and I was on global news, and I tell you, boy, we were chopping it up, man. And we would just come back and forth up the hall. And a lot of people may not remember this if they have never been there. I used to do snacks, bring wine, and I tell you, I couldn't keep King George out of my room. King George would always be in there, man, eating up everything.
Well, he's known. He's a Mr. Pac-Man, and that's what he would eat it up. So
Yeah, but back during that time, we all realized that we were family, and we did what a family did. We supported one another. After I got off the air, I would come sit in the room with you, and man, we would swap stories. And I tell you, it was fun. It was fun.
yes, it was.
You know, and then we realized, and even though I'm not as old as you,
You know
that
what?
we
I wish you would leave that word "old" alone because I don't know any old people.
Well, I'm trying to make a point.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, even though I may not be born the same year that you was born, is that a better way of putting it?
Yeah, good, not bad.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. But we did the same things during the same time periods.
Yes, we did.
During the 70s and the 80s. I was a young DJ, and you were tearing up the streets of Chicago, the West Side, South Side, and I stayed on the fringes of the city. I was in the south suburbs, and the music was the music, and I tell you, we had a wonderful time doing what we did with the music, and I tell you,
Ask Dr. Ron is the name of the show. Ask
yes,
Dr. Ron. My wife she's coming and she's asking, so she asked Dr. Ron on YouTube.
yep, yeah,
Okay,
on
go ahead.
YouTube.
I'm
That's where
sorry.
we are.
Hmm.
I see Monique Grant has tuned in, so thank you for tuning in.
Okay, quite a
You
few
know,
people.
yeah. So, but the fact that the music was the music, and we did what we did back then, I never kept going. I realized early on in my career that the only way that you can keep making money doing this was if you had to be popular. And I had my little suburban thing on, like, lockdown. We had Benji's, we had Apollo South, we had Mr. Kelly's, the Blue Dahlia. Those were some of the clubs that were popular back in the 70s and early 80s. And you guys were, doing what you were doing on all through Chicago. It was no just one place.
West
You
side,
was,
south side,
yeah,
and
yeah,
north side.
everywhere, everywhere.
Yes.
And from then till now, you have established yourself as the legend that you are.
Well, you know
When
what, and you know what, it's kind of gratifying, that, there was so much, I try to explain people, what I was doing and how I was doing it. And it was a tremendous job, the sacrifices, hanging posters in 10 below zero. And I was lucky, Dr. Ron, because I had a unbelievable crew who
yeah,
enjoyed working with me. Young guys, most of them were high school guys who wanted to be DJs. Now, if I go back and I look at some of the roster, some of the guys in the chosen few DJs, they're the biggest
hmm,
in the nation in the house music scene. And some of those guys work with me, like Kirk Townsend and Wayne Williams. I'm using them guys as example. And it was just a tremendous uh, thing for me to be able to bring these young people together, and it worked.
yeah, yeah. And music is a universal language.
Yes, it is.
And it has, back in our day, because I shared the day and the era with you. There was always a message in the music. You know, and I tell you, it was real easy to make babies to the music that we
Oh,
was,
without a doubt. Excuse me. Yes, it was. And I tell a lot of the young guys today. I would go over to a lady's house, and I might take a 45 with me. I didn't have to say a word. The
yeah,
music said everything I needed to say.
everything you
Uh,
needed to
there
say.
was give you an example. Jerry Butler had a record out called "Thanks to You," and I used to tell a young lady, various young ladies, I would sing that Jerry Buller's record and the record says something like, "You changed my life and my way of living, thanks to you." And they would just melt. The
Yeah.
ladies, I mean, they literally would melt with those words. And those are words from Curtis Mayfield, but I
Right.
use them to my advantage.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was a
You wasn't by
universal language.
yourself, man. You was
Yes.
not by yourself. Man, we had balladeers,
Oh my God.
you
Did
know.
we? Smokey.
Oh, yeah,
And
man.
Ron,
Look.
Dr. Ron, not to cut you off, but one of the greatest just passed today, Lamont Dozier.
What?
Lamont Dozier passed today. Why can't we be
Oh,
lovers? And
wow.
I think he wrote several tunes for the Temptations. Yeah, he wrote music for all the Motown roster. Lamont
Right.
Dozier. And then he left Motown. Then he went. Him and Barry Gordy had a little run in.
And
He
they
left
went out
Motown
to
and went and
Philly.
formed his own label with he had three number 1 records I know. One was "Want Ads" by the Honeycomb, "Wanted," "Young Man," "Single Man," "Free," and
Yeah.
then he had a Blue Eyed Soul group. I can't think of the name of it. The group right now had number 1 record, and then General Johnson, chairman of the board, another great writer. So Lamont Dozier was just an unbelievable writer, arranger, producer, and rest in peace. He passed today.
Yes, definitely. We send prayers out to his family, to be encouraged at a time like this.
Hmm.
And it's interesting, that so many legends are getting up out of here. I mean,
Unbelievable.
people
Every day.
every day, my brother. Yes, every day, man. And we had the honor and the privilege. I know I have, and I know you have, to work with a lot of these people,
I
man.
love them. Tyrone Davis,
Yeah,
Bobby Bland,
yeah.
Lil Milton, you name them. And excuse me, here in the city of Chicago, and I'm one that'll put labels on people. I can't help it. I rate the Temptations the greatest group in the history of recorded music. The Stylistics and the Whispers right under them. A lot of people want to elevate them over, but that's everybody has their favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Smokey Robinson guy. I'm a Luther Vandross guy. And when I think about all of the great artists, like you said, that's gone, it just really sad. It's so sad. But you know what? The music will live on forever.
Now I got to mess with you now, sir, because you just said something there that I know you personally and I personally knew a lot of these guys that were from Chicago, like the Dells, the Shy-Lights, Walter Jackson, Gene Chandler. Now their music stands on their own 2 feet, but you said,
Right. The
so,
greatest of all time.
right. So now,
There's no backing down. And if I confronted Gene Chandler or
uh huh.
Jerry Butler about the Temptation, you know what and Marshall of the Shy-Lights and I talk at least once or twice every day because they're
Okay.
coming here and to Country Club Hills and I'm DJing for them. If I would
Okay.
confront Marshall of the world famous Shy-Lights, who just received the Hollywood Star Walk of Fame, Marshall would have to agree with me that might be the greatest of all time, with the
Okay.
Temptations. And I never back, and I rate the Temptations the greatest, and I rate Luther the greatest right there. And Michael Jackson is in a class by itself. Everybody I rate at a certain Babyface, people get angry with me when I rate Babyface second to Smokey. But
Wow.
it's just everybody has their preference, their choice,
Right.
and those are mine.
Okay. So the Chicago crew are right underneath them.
Well, no, Curtis Mayfield is in a class by himself. Now,
Yes.
I rate Curtis in a class. I don't rate Curtis like number 1, number 2 in a class by himself. Curtis Mayfield is a Chicago treasure.
Yes.
And I mean that from the bottom line. I love him. I had an opportunity to hang out with Curtis and Jerry Butler. Gene Chandler is all the events that we give.
Right.
He makes it. All I got to do is call Gene and invite him, and he's there. Jerry Butler, unbelievable. His brother Billy Butler and I was like brothers. We did a lot of events together. I love the emotions due to Purvis Staples of the world famous Staples singers. And
Yes.
Purvis Staples had a band. I don't know if you knew of this band. They were called
Mm-hmm.
the Sons of Slum. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I
They were one
remember.
of the
Yeah.
best bands in the land also. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of, I mean, don't get me wrong, the dramatics and stylistics, and I can just go on and on and on. These are great groups, Blue Magic, Shylights, unbelievable groups, but no one stands near the Temptations, in
Okay.
my opinion.
Okay. So, I always admired the Dells. The
I
Dells
do
were
too.
always, man, they put some classics out that were, man, second to none and have stood the test of time, just like the Temptations have. I'm not trying to
Yes,
take nothing away from the Temptations, and it made no difference which Temptation group lead singer that
that's
you're talking
true.
about. They were all great. But I guess I had always a soft spot in my heart because they were from Harvey and I
Yes.
grew up in Harvey.
Now I didn't know
So
that. Let me interrupt
yeah,
you one more.
uh huh,
When the city of Harvey dedicated the park for the Dales, I was a DJ and I was a dedicator.
okay,
I was there. I dedicated the park to the Dales. The only thing that I got to know Marvin's son, Marvin Jr. I got to
mm-hmm,
know several of Chuck Boxdale well. Don't get me wrong. During the 50s, now I was just a
mm-hmm,
kid. During the 50s, the Dale's music carried me through the 50s. I'm not
yeah,
now only thing that the difference to me, say with the Temptation of the Dales. Now, don't get me wrong, the Dales was on a plateau by themselves also, but the Temptations they just released their album of 60 years,
mm-hmm,
and it sounds like the Temptations yesterday. That's
okay,
what's amazed me about they Otis Williams always able to plug in a lead singer that never misses a beat. And if that's the, I think if that's the key to that's the longevity of the Temptations.
yeah. Now, talking about the Dells, you said you met Marvin Jr. Jr.
Hmm.
He's got a song out with Vern Ellison's son, right?
No,
Yes, man, they did a remake, Baby Come Back or Baby Back or something like that. It is sweet,
as
man.
soon as we get off there, you got to send it to me. But it's
Yes, sir.
okay,
I will
okay.
do that, man. And guess what? In that video, Vern and Mickey McGill both made cameos in the video.
Unbelievable. That's beautiful.
Yeah, man. When I saw it, my heart kind of melted, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I like I say, when I think about some of the songs, probably my favorite Dale's tune back in the day was "Why Do You Have to Go." Oh my God! Why do you have to go? And the night is still young.
Yeah.
That would always be that record that we play at the end of the party, the quarter parties back in the day.
Yeah, quarter party. They don't know nothing about that.
No, they don't
Quarter
know. No, they
party.
don't know about
They
that.
don't know nothing about
No,
that.
quarter
Quarter
parties,
party.
waistline parties.
Waistline. I was just getting ready to say waistline party. See, back then I could get in pretty good because I was a lot thinner.
Okay.
So I used to barely, blue lights in the basement type
Yes,
thing.
yes, yes.
They don't know nothing about that. That's a Chicago thing, y'all.
Yes, it is.
So, man, it is such a pleasure to talk about some of these things with you. Um, Let me ask you, since we're talking about music, you know, we have spanned time, like I said, from the 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way up to 2022. How do you feel about today's music?
Uh, Give me an example. Maybe I can demonstrate how I'm coming back from Cincinnati, and
Okay.
I'm on there, and I had taped my program on 95.1, the FM Omni channel. Which, just in case your listeners are not familiar, that's what I'm on every Saturday and Sunday from 12 noon until 5 every Saturday. FM Omni channel 95.1, your heartbeat for soul. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to what my competition sounds like on Sundays. And I'm listening to the music on coming back from Cincinnati, and I couldn't listen no more than a half hour. First of all, I thought Ragman was on, 106, but he wasn't on that big time. What's his name? I can't think of the guy's name. That the one that advertises, the lawyers and stuff. But anyway, he was on, and I didn't listen that long. But the music, to me, that there are no lyrics in the music. They're not talking about. If you listen to I'm back to the Temptation, Smokey, Luther Vandross, Dr. Ron, what are they talking about? Love, love your fellow
Yes.
man, love her, love him. Love. They talking about
Yes.
love. These guys are. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, oh my goodness. And the person that I feel like the announcer or the DJ or whatever you want to call them, they're working and they got to make a living. But I want to get in their head and find out what they think. Garbage.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about that garbage? You go on YouTube and they got 2600 million views.
Yeah.
I'm like, now there are some exceptions. Now I do love Beyonce, with a passion. I do love Doja Cat with a passion.
Okay.
Doja Cat got a record out right now. I'm not promoting her, but it's called Vegas, where it's a takeoff on Elvis Presley and Hound Dog. I
Okay.
love it with a passion. So there are some. I just came back from Cincinnati. Keisha Cole, I love her with a passion. Charlie Wilson,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
Tony. There are some people out here. Elder Barge is going to be at the Black Women's Expo Sunday. There are some people out here who are singing and with beautiful lyrics, still singing.
Yeah.
But this, I don't know what you call this music. If you ask me, uh, I don't know what you call it. No lyrics. They're not talking about nothing but yeah. And then the rappers, the radio station is trying to bleep some of the profanity out of the song, then it destroys the song. Now, let
Right.
me just mention one other thing in terms of the music. Think about B.B. King, Bobby Blue. I'm gonna use a Muddy Waters record.
Okay.
What make a man go crazy when a woman dress so tight? It must be that same thing that make a preacher lay his Bible down. Now, everybody know what he's saying, Dr. Ron.
Right.
But
Right.
these rappers, they don't have to use profanity to get their
Right.
point across. They could do like them old blues singers or them
Right. Right. Insinuate.
Smokey Robinson never cursed.
Insinuate. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Paint a picture. Paint a picture that you cannot erase in your mind.
listen to me. Smokey Robinson, I can quote lyrics from his songs for 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, now I got a question,
mhm,
okay? Because I go back and forth with Lee Michaels. I know you've
mhm.
heard his name before.
Yes, I do.
We work together every on most Thursdays on Street News Now. We have a talk show, and I I told him that I like Beyonce.
I love Beyonce.
And what made me, because you hear opinions from people, oh, she can't really carry a tune, she not really a singer, she just look good, okay. I played for him one day, the duet with Luther Vandross and Beyonce, "The Closer I Get to You." I say, man, you can't tell me that woman not singing. You can't fluff that song. You can't fake that song. That's a song that you got a flat foot sing on. And he's like, she all right. You know?
And now, Dr. Ron, someone is going to think if one of my friends is listening to the show and
Uh-huh.
hear me say what I'm getting ready to say now, he think that we scripted this.
Right.
Someone asked me, I was one of the first DJs that I know in the city of Chicago who was raving about Beyonce before I ever knew her name. But
Right.
someone said, how did you get up on Beyonce so early? I'm talking about had never made a record on her own.
Right.
Somebody said, how did you get up on her so early? You know what I said?
Well,
Luther put her on his album
exactly.
and sung that particular song, and I freaked.
Yes.
And I played that song "Closer I Get to You" and everything on her first album right today. I play it.
Yes.
Now, don't get me wrong; she's beautiful and she's all. Now, if I just got through listening to her new CD. She made a couple of tunes on there that's adults would really like. She done went away from us for a while. But you know, but I understand that too. I didn't hold it against her because she went with the money.
Right.
And sometimes entertainers gotta, they want to get paid too,
Yeah.
so I understood her going. But Beyonce is, oh my goodness, she is but on
Man.
so this friend of mine said, he's a DJ. He said, but she was in a group and you was raving about Beyonce. I said, it was when Luther put her on his album. I knew
Yes.
uh, that there was another person that I'm trying to think of right now. Someone put that person on the album, and I jumped on them immediately. And someone said, "Well, how did you know?" I said, "Well, because so and so put her on his, give." Oh, I know. What's his name? Anderson Paak. That's uh, with Bruno Mars, and he formed that
Okay.
group Silk Sonic. I was raving
Mm-hmm.
about Anderson Paak simply because Smokey Robinson put Anderson Paak on his CD.
Yeah.
So this great talent is hard to hide. You
Right.
can't hide great talent.
And
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 Beyonce is truly a great talent.
and to your, to your credit, you're 100% correct, man. Because Luther did not mess with everybody. He was a
No,
very finicky individual when it came to his craft. And who gave Luther his break was Roberta Flack. Luther used to sing background with
yes,
Roberta Flack.
but for everybody,
Yeah.
couldn't even.
And
On that same note, think about this. All these people who are supposed to be great talent evaluators, you mean they couldn't see the talent in Luther Vandross?
she had to
Man,
fire
please.
him. You
Yeah.
know the story behind the scene, right? She had to
Yes.
fire him.
Yes.
She had
All
to
these
fire
great.
him to make him start on his own as a solo artist. And
Is
he
that
still didn't.
unbelievable?
He still didn't go as a solo artist. He joined the group Change.
Yep. Changed. Then he did that song. The song that sort of brought him to our attention was that Greg Diamond song, "Hot Butterfly."
Uh
And
huh.
he did that with Greg Diamond, and from that point on, he couldn't tell. One night, you told me talking about the stories. We're at Purv's house on 79th and Ingleside.
Okay.
Purv had gave me Friday. I had Friday nights. I'm DJing, place standing. Look, naturally, standing room only. And and I see this guy walking through. Big guy walking. He's about your size too. Big guy walking through the place, passing out records. And I called Purvis Staples over. I said, Purv, who is that, man? Who is that guy passing out? What was he passing out? And Purv said, oh, you didn't meet him? He said, I'll bring him over. He said, that's Luther.
Mm.
Luther was at Purv's house giving away free albums. Now, the album that he was giving away was an album with a song on there, and I don't know the name of the album right now. It was him and Luther, another guy, and two girls. I think
Mm.
they were called Luther. The album had a record on there called "The Second Time Around."
Mm.
I left that album laid on my back seat, Ron, in my car for that 4 or 5 months before I opened up. Beautiful record, but I didn't know who Luther was. We didn't go nowhere. When Luther became famous, he re-released it second time around, and it was shot to the top. But I'm
Yeah.
just giving an example. So he was out giving away free albums at Purv's house on 79th, and I didn't have a clue who he was. And you know what? Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I recognized the genius in his voice. I mean, so many people did, but they couldn't understand why he couldn't make it on his own in the beginning.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. And you mentioned Perv. Perv was a good friend of mine as well. Perv used to come out to the south suburb. Like I said, he was very territorial back in the day, in the 70s and the 80s. It was nothing unusual to see a limousine sitting out in the middle of the street, with a white European driver sitting there while he inside getting drunk, because that's what he did.
Yeah, he could take
And
it.
yeah, and he used to love coming out to the suburbs to hang out, man, because it was a peaceful place. And I tell you, the same thing with the Dales. Marvin used to hang out, and Johnny Carter used to hang out. Johnny Funches used to hang out, and man, it was nothing. They were just down to earth people. Used to be able to
Hmm.
walk up to them, have a conversation, buy them a drink. They buy you a drink, and it was just, it was like it wasn't any, like upper echelon, funny acting folks back then. Now they had some, cause I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna call his name since he ain't alive no more. Man, Lou Rawls was funny acting on occasions. If you ran across Lou Rawls somewhere, man, and he might just subject to snap.
I never had that. I never had close
Yeah,
contact with him, but only one time in my life. That was at the Hot Chaparral, Burning
yeah,
Spear.
and I tell you another one used to snap every now and then too was Walter Jackson. He used to snap.
Never had that problem with him. Uh, now the only person ever, only entertainer that ever snapped on me, and and before it was all over, he became one of my best friends. That was Tyrone Davis. Tyrone Davis
Uh
was
huh.
snap. Ooh, he could be mean
Yeah.
if he didn't know you,
Right.
So, but Tyrone,
Yeah.
I never had that not many problem because what happened was I formed me a group of entertainers. Now in the city of Chicago on the west side, especially on the west side, when I came to the south side, I didn't book as many shows. On the west side, I had uh, Garland Green,
Mm-hmm.
Ruby Andrews, The Emotions, The Sons of Slum, Billy Butler, Jerry Butler's brother, and Ronaldo Domino. I don't know if that name rang the bell with you. Ronaldo Domino.
I'm
He
too
had
young to know
when he
anything
first
about that.
started singing, everybody thought he was Smokey because he sounded so much like Smokey. And a girl named Sunday Williams. Sunday
Mm.
Williams. She had a song I call "Ain't No Problems." Those are the people, and so after I did those shows, those artists, decided I'm ready to branch out. I ran into a friend of mine who moved to Philadelphia. He hooked me up with Hal Melvin and the Blue Notes. Had them at the Keyman's Club when they were the number one group in the nation.
Mm.
A few months later, I had the Stylistics when they were number one. And then right after that, I had Blue Magic, and the story just goes on. And the thing about it is that I had these artists, Dr. Ron, and for the life of me, I don't know why I don't have pictures of me standing there with these artists. The last show that the Jackson Five did in the Chicago, in the nation, and their contract went into effect with Motown. That's what Joe Jackson told me. At 12 midnight, they had to be on and off the stage by 12 midnight. I didn't bring them off the stage till 2 o'clock that morning. No one knew. I didn't take a picture with Michael, and I rate Michael the greatest entertainer of my lifetime. Michael was
Yeah.
just phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, you talk about promoters. I know you worked in that arena, but I also know that you were very close to Helen Wooten as well.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
I have
Now
some
that's a
I got
lady.
a couple of Helen Wooten stories too.
Yeah. Helen was such a sweetheart. Nightclub owner. She was one of the first in the business as a female back during that era. And when she passed away, I called you up and I said, "Hey, man, I don't know if you heard or not, but Helen's gone." And when you have people that have touched your life in such a way like she have, I tell you, she will always live on in my heart because she was really truly a friend.
She was a nice person too.
Yeah.
And you know, we we talk about entertainers, and then someone will say something negative, but I always like to end my story about an entertainer, if they were, by saying they were a beautiful person, and Helen was.
Yes.
She was just, there's a guy in the city. You can go on YouTube and pull him up and look at some of his birthday parties named Robert Money, and he got a group called the Love Movement. And Helen
Yeah.
was at the last party that Robert Money gave, and Robert Money, he if he gonna have a party, if he had to send a limo to pick up Helen, he would send a limo to pick her up because she was just, I don't know. And a lot of people don't realize Helen Rudin worked with not only she worked with the Brat, she worked with
Hmm.
R. Kelly, and
Right.
that's a name we don't hear that much anymore. But and there's a reason for that too. But Helen worked with a lot of the great. She worked with the Blue Magic. I know that for a fact. So she
Yeah.
worked with a lot of entertainers around the city of Chicago, and she helped a lot of people too.
Yeah. I remember she had a birthday party at over there east on 87th Street. What was that club? Mr. G.
There's a G's or the Sheba,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, it was Mr. G. Yeah, and you were the DJ.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was that was we were honoring her, and the Marshall Light was there, and
Right, Gene came
yeah,
by. Yeah,
Gene is just Gene is just unbelievable. That's a nice.
yeah, and you and I was sitting in the booth just talking, while you was working, and man, it was people suited and booted,
Oh, they were sharp.
Samada was there, Acklin, Barbara Acklin's daughter.
Mhm. And
I mean, go ahead.
I just did a show with the guy's name is Mac Miller. Mac Miller is a
Hmm.
part of the Shylights. And
Right.
I hadn't seen Barbara Acklin's daughter since she was, maybe it was in her early 20s or so, maybe about 19 or 20. And I didn't know she could sing the way she did. She could
Yes.
blow. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Man,
You remember Carolyn Albritton?
the names sound familiar, but I can't. I don't.
Carolyn Albritton used to host open mic at the Cotton Club on Monday nights, and
Oh,
Samada was the host. Along with Suge on Monday nights, and Samada got hooked up with Bernie Mac and was one of the dancers that worked with Bernie Mac when he put his tour finally together for the first time. And Carolyn had worked with both Bernie and many others, out of the Cotton Club, like you mentioned, Robert Kelly, it was a lot of people that came through the Cotton Club back in the early 90s. And that's what I'm talking about. Remember, oh my God, I can't remember. He died so many years ago, but he was one of the original hosts of that open mic. But,
wow.
the Cotton Club was a very renowned celebrity spot, and I know Frenchie because he used to come through there and
Frenchie
holler at Frenchie.
DJ with me. Yes.
Yeah, Frenchie. Frenchie was a DJ in the back disco room in the early 90s. And I used to mix the sound in the front room at the Cotton Club.
Wow.
And I used to see all the celebrities used to come through there. I was actually there when they decided to name the front music room dedicated to Cab Calloway.
Wow.
And then Cab Calloway came through there. That was a historical moment,
Yes, it
so I
was.
got a chance to meet him. So, and that was in the 90s,
Hmm.
so he was still doing tours. Cab Calloway was. It's amazing, the history in Chicago of so many people that have come through here and, like you said, left their mark on the city.
Yes.
You know,
And it's still
I rem-
there. And it's still
yeah,
there.
look, I remember, and I wasn't old enough to be in there at the time, but I remember the High Chaparral.
Yes.
Now,
Look, some of one of the look, I can tell you some high chaparral stories that some of the greatest entertainers in the world was there. I mentioned Johnny Taylor. You mentioned Lou Rawls. Every if you were anybody, you came to they came through the high chaparral.
that's exactly right.
And it
You
was
know,
just and to not only just as I'm talking about as a youngster. I mean, I was in my 20s, going out there, and I went to the first Don Cornelius show, Don
hmm
Cornelius Soul Train show. Don Cornelius had it was on a Tuesday. He had Eddie Kendricks and Bobby Womack. Now
okay,
Clinton Gent, who was Don Cornelius' host on there was Soul Train was
I,
still local at the time,
right,
and who was a great dancer also, absolutely great stepper, Clinton Gent. And when I got to the Hot Shop Rail, with Ken and Jen and I were real close because we were doing Soul Train night on the West Side every Sunday at St. Philip's. Herb Kent used to have St. Philip's, and I took it over later. So anyway, when I got there, I said, Clinton Jen, what time show? Uh, he said, Eddie Kendrick's gonna come out in a few minutes. I looked at Clinton Jen. I said, Eddie Kendrick's gonna come out in a minute. I said, you mean Eddie Kendrick's gonna go on before Bobby Womack? I said, oh, how can you do that, man? He said,
uh
well,
huh,
that's the way Don wanted it.
okay,
Eddie Kendricks came on, did a show, and blew me away. I said, man, I felt so sorry for Bobby Womack. I didn't know what
right.
to do. Oh my goodness, was I wrong? First
Mm.
of all, I didn't know Bobby Womack played the guitar the way he did.
Man,
Plus, he
Bobby
was a
was a
left-handed guitar
beast.
player.
He was a beast.
Listen to me. When Bobby Womack left the stage, I walked up to Clinton Gent. I said, Gent, I am so sorry. I had no, because I had never seen Bobby Womack live. He
Right.
destroyed the High Chaparral Burning Spear, whatever the name was at the time.
At the
And I
time,
left there.
yeah,
I left there singing Bobby Womack's name. I mean, he blew.
yeah,
And I am a diehard. I mentioned the Temptations, great group, and his Eddie Kendricks, the greatest lead singer in the history of recorded music. And I've been saying that ever since from my baby. But that particular, now don't get me wrong, I didn't take away from him being the greatest, but I didn't know Bobby Womack was that bad. That was that
man.
first Soul Train show, and it was absolutely awesome. Now, another thing too that you don't know. Now, when Don Cornelius got ready to go to California with the
California.
Soul Train, there were two guys in the city. There was Clinton Jett was the host of this local show, and he was getting ready to go to California. So Clinton Jett and I was giving the Soul Train thing on the west side of St. Phillips every Sunday, strictly high school. And Clinton Jett asked me, did I want to do, while he's going to California, take his place at, on the Soul Train show. And it just, Soul Train now it done went national. It looks so beautiful with all the lights and the train. I said,
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that, and I actually said no. Stevie O, who was another great DJ from the Guys and Gals, Stevie O took over the show and started doing Soul Train. It didn't last that long, but because Soul Train, the national show looked so beautiful, and great dancers. So I
Yeah.
was, I think about, did I regret that? Maybe a little bit, but it was just it was just a great experience anyway, just to be asked. I think,
Yeah.
when I think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Clinton Gent used to hang out on 87th Street at the Dayton game. You
That
know,
was his
uh,
spot.
and they used to have summer softball leagues where every club would
He was
play
a hell of a
against each other.
softball player. Yes.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Yeah,
Yes.
they used to have man in the park every weekend, man throwing down. Then they go back to the club and turn up. You
Yes.
know, before turning up was turning up.
That's
They was
right.
turning up.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah. So
He was a good
and
friend of Purvis Staple too.
yeah,
They
oh
were
yeah,
agents.
yeah,
They
yeah.
were agents with
Everybody,
Coon. They were agents.
everybody was cool back in the day,
Yes.
man. I think he passed away not too long ago too, didn't he?
Oh,
Clinton Gent?
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, yeah. I know Purpose not too long ago,
Yeah.
last year before last. So I try to keep up with some of these guys, and it's heartbreaking because when you don't see them for a while, then you get concerned about
Yeah.
them, where they at, what's going on, and I try to make it my business, man. I'll just call people and say, hey, man, how you doing? I don't want nothing. I ain't calling to beg. I don't need no favor. I don't need nothing. Just, hey, man, how you doing?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And that just keeps the network alive, being able to talk to people. Like I said about you, man, I appreciate the fact that, you take time out of your schedule and say, hey, man, yeah, I'll come back on,
Hmm.
and I appreciate that, you got people like, so many folks, man, that have been around so long, man. I like to give people their flowers while they're alive.
No, thank
You
you.
know, we got friends, like Gus Redman, and like you said, we talked to Marshall. Just trying to, keep, communication. With folks that are important to where we came from, paying homage to where the ancestors that we have come through and what we have witnessed. And that's a beautiful thing. These stories are invaluable.
Yes, they are. And I think about, I like, everybody that if 99% of the people that know me, they've known me since I've been on the South Side, but they didn't realize I was originally from the West Side, Crane Tech. I lived on 15th and Avers. I love how my first party. Give you an example. How lucky, sometimes I just think about being in the right place at the right time. Otis LaVille, whose real name was Otis Cobb, worked at Brunswick Records. Well, Otis and Major Lance was best of friends. So
Hmm.
I went to the Guys and Gals one night, and I'll take that back. I went to the uh, Premier Hotel that was on Washington and Homan or something like that. Homan and Washington, yeah, I think so. And I went
Okay.
there, and I went there to. I wanted to start giving events, but I could never break. The Barber's Peppermint Lounge was the place I wanted to be because it was the
Okay.
hottest thing on the West Side. But I couldn't get in there because every night was filled. So I said, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go out and get. So I went over to the Premier Hotel. Bob Simmons of the Fox Players. I know that name ring a bell. Big
Mm-hmm.
Bob Simmons, the Fox Players. Uh, I went there when I went. They had a Tuesday nights it was like a Hawaiian room, or they used to call it the Phoenician room. So I went over
Okay.
there one night, and the Bob Simmons said the Fox player said. So I said, well, I sit around and checked it out for a minute. So I asked Bob, where is the owner, a manager, or someone? So he directed me to a guy. I went and talked to a guy. He said, have you been in the ballroom? The ballroom was like, I'm giving an example, like he said around big room. He
Okay.
said, you been in the ballroom? I said, yeah. He said, do you think you could fill up that room? I said, man, look, had never given a party now. Had a lot of house parties, but I'd never give a party in a nightclub or ballroom. I said, man, yeah. He said, well, look, we just had a meeting with Herb Kent, and he's no longer here. We just had a misunderstanding. Do you think I had been to Herb Kent's set on Saturday? He had a Saturday night set at the Premier called Feznecky Land, which was a slang for girls. And you remember Feznecky Land? So anyway, so he said, "Do you think you could fill?" I said, "Yeah, I can fill that room." Da da da. Had never given a party now, Ron. So I went that Thursday to the guys and gals. That was a Tuesday. I went that Thursday to the guys and gals. Randon Otis LaVille,
Mm-hmm.
Walter Jackson, and Major Lance. I
Okay.
said, Otis, I said, I need y'all to come to I'm doing a party Saturday on the west side at the dock. I need you to come in out of the Major and Doc. Otis brought Major Lance over, said, Major, this Sam Chatman, this Sammy Chatman, and he my neighbor, and and we're gonna go to a set Saturday.
Mm.
Major Lance came and Walter Jackson came. And
Wow.
I have never missed a beat from that day. And that's
Okay.
a true. Hey, excuse me. And made money that, and I tried to give them something. They wouldn't take a dime.
Wow.
And Major Lance's daughter, Jackie, is a good friend of mine. She takes pictures at all my events. And her sister, Major Lance's daughter, Jackie's sister, as you know, is the mayor of Atlanta.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep. We talked about that one night. Yeah.
it's
Yep.
just unbelievable you know how what they say, what goes around come around. How it goes around it come
Exactly.
around. So it's just
Exactly.
incredible.
Yeah, man. Life has been good to you, my brother. You
Yes,
know.
yes, it is.
You know.
And it's continuing to be.
Yes, sir.
And I'm
Yes,
sitting on my
sir.
sitting on my Sprite right now.
And there you go. Now, I know you talked about being on 95.1. What'd you say, on 2 days a week now?
Saturdays and Sundays from 12 noon to 5.
Okay. And I know you still doing nightclubs.
Yes.
What's your house clubs that you
I
work
don't
at?
have any. I was at one, place every Monday, but now I'm just doing specials. I'm like this Saturday I'm at Visions with the radio station. I'm at this Saturday I'm at 119th and Loomis at Visions. Friday I'm in
Okay.
Bellwood with Mayor Andre Harvey for the Taste of Bellwood. That's from 5 until.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be, and we got a young lady coming out of Detroit. Her name is Michonne Young.
Okay.
Only thing I can describe Michonne is that if you like Anita Baker, you're gonna love Michonne Young because they
Okay.
sound so similar to me.
Now,
And she's a beautiful lady too, great
yeah.
vocalist.
Now I gotta ask this question. Now, when they say DJ Sam Chapman, are you known worldwide or just nationwide?
Excuse me. Well, I would love. Well, I'm blushing because I would love to thank Nation because my daughter Cynthia was in Egypt. She was listening
Okay.
to me on the radio. I've had people to text me from. Listen to this, sir, from Russia.
All right
That
now.
they were listening. Chewy Garcia, that's the United States Congressman.
All right.
Chewy Garcia steps with me in Washington, D.C. He texted me one day. He said, Sam, I'm in a caucus meeting and I couldn't turn you off. I got you on low, but I'm listening.
There you
So
go.
I would think, being serious, we want to think that we are global. We want to think
Right.
that. We want to feel that. But just the thought of it is fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's over time. It doesn't happen overnight. It's over time. You accomplish those types of things. Now I know that of course you and Herb Kent were like, man, like brothers. Now I know that Herb was like what, 80 years in the business, and when he passed away, he was still working hard. He never stopped. You know, so do you see yourself,
No
like
different.
Herb,
No
going
different.
all the way till you can't do it no more?
No different. No different. And I remember Richard McGee and I had which was another a music legend.
Mm-hmm.
Richard McGee and had a conversation. He was telling me about a conversation he had with his wife, and his wife was telling him, "Baby, you don't have to work this hard. You don't have to do this." And Richard McGee said he looked at her and told her, "Baby, this is what I do." You know.
Right.
Now my wife tells me constantly, "So you don't have to work that hard, Sam. Why are you doing?" And she can't stand it when I do back to backs. Now, what I mean by back Sunday, I did grand opening of a nightclub over on 55th in Michigan, and I left there and I went and did a birthday party. And she said, "Don't get me wrong, she enjoyed both of them, but she's saying you don't have to work that hard. I don't." Uh, Ron, I'm talking to you on your show. I'm talking to you. If we you were I was just kicking it. I'm not
Right.
working. This is what I mean. If it's especially if you're talking about music and entertainers, I'm not working. You
Right.
know, when I had I got a record in here. I got a record on my wall, a gold record of Alicia Keys. I had
Okay.
another gold record on my wall of Dr. Dre, that Chronic album. Someone stole that one, that broken it. He's riding and stole one thing out of it. All that liquor was in there. They stole my album. Luther was going to give me a gold record. I broke one of his records. I'm
Mm.
To me, that is I can't, there's a lot of mistakes I've made. Don't get me wrong. I'm sit here and just and give you paint you a picture like everything I've done was pure. Tremendous mistakes I've made over the course of years. And I think about them all. But you know what? The only good thing about those mistakes, Ron, is that they never affected me.
Mm.
They never affected me. You know what I mean by I I I might have lost a ton of money today, Monday. I woke up Tuesday trying to figure out how I was gonna make some more.
Right.
A promotion, and it was always with the public or the person, the people that was at my events. It was always they were the stars of my show. I always told someone asked me why wasn't I a great dancer. I didn't want to be a great dancer because I didn't want to compete with my steppers. I
Right.
didn't want to be a great dancer. I want them to think they were the best. And I
Right.
pushed them the best. When we did the first world's largest steppers contest, I gave a ton of money to get them shoes and buy outfits and I never forget it was one guy named Shorty Ed. He won. He needed some money to do something. I gave it to him. He won the contest. He the freestyle. And I said, Shorty Ed, I said, man, you won the contest 3 weeks ago. You ain't said a word. You know what he did? We was in the DJ booth. He's around. He said, "Sam, let me buy you a drink." I said, "That's fine. Okay." He was drinking out of a bottle of beer. He handed it to me. He said, "You can finish this." I said, "Thanks, Shorty Ed, but no thank you." And that was the end. And I mean that, and that's a true story. So
Uh-huh.
I didn't want, I can dance a little bit. I'm not a great dancer. I wanted to be a great DJ.
I got you.
That's what I didn't want to be. I didn't want to compete with nobody. I
Uh-huh.
didn't, and then social clubs. When
Right.
I when I had when we started the world's largest ever, I my dancers, I'm talking people that patronized me. I encouraged them to enter the contest and I didn't want to compete, but there were various social clubs in the city of Chicago. They got in the contest, the club members, to compete instead of pushing a contestant that was patronizing them, paying to come to their events every week. And I always thought that was totally backwards, but that's just me.
Now, what happened with the movie? I know they did a movie honoring you, Reggie, and a few other guys that were stars and legends in the stepping community. Whatever happened with the movie?
I have no idea. I don't know what movie you're talking about. There was never anything to honor us, as far as I was concerned. Never.
Okay.
Now there
All
was a
right.
lot of conversation about it, but there was never, never.
Okay.
They did a couple of movies. I forgot the name of them, but then we had the TV show, 7 at Club 7, which looked like it was going to be a smash hit, and then a lot of little infighting and this and that, and that fizzled. Which reminds me, one day, next time I see you, I'll give you a copy of the show. I have
Hmm.
I have DVDs I pass out at the events of 7 at Club 7, which was an awesome show.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they never did anything honoring us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, we got about 5 minutes left. You got any events coming up that you want to make sure that you tell people about?
Friday, Bellwood, Illinois. Friday, Bellwood, this Friday. Saturday at Divisions on 119th and Loomis. 119 Loomis. Absolutely awesome. This is only our third one. The first one I get there, Ron, there were 300 people in line outside.
Mm.
I got there. I was a little late getting there because traffic on the I-57 was bad. But it's just nice people who love to dance. And these are adults. And, people say, why you don't have those kind of problems at an adult stepper set?
Right.
Because they're not into that. They're not into
Not into it.
shootings and
Look,
fighting. And I
look.
always tell people, Ron, if you got to come to my event, anything that I'm involved in, you got to bring your gun. Stay home.
Right.
Don't come. I
Yeah.
don't need you. I don't want
Yeah.
you at. I don't want you at no event. I don't want nobody going. Oh, I was at Sam Chatman's event. And they got this fighting and shooting and that. Don't come. I
Yeah.
don't need you there.
And even going back to the 70s, man, you got to realize you don't get dressed up in a three-piece suit, put on gaiters to go somewhere to get into a humbug.
No,
You
sir.
just ain't gonna do it.
No, sir. I
It's
do
not
Don
gonna
Juan's
happen.
party, Bishop Magic Juan.
All
I do
right.
them. I talked to him last week. He just booked me for his party, first Saturday in December on the west side.
Okay.
Everybody there is
Is
sharp
he
as
is
a
he
tack.
back? Is he back?
No, he's a little weak now. He's not back, but he's coming. He had an event over there last month, but he comes here and still have his birthday party. He lives in
Got
Fairway.
you.
Yeah,
Right.
he's out there with Snoop Dogg and
Yeah, they taking care of him out there. Yeah.
excuse me. You know what? He was on a TV show once. I got to say this, and the announcer, it's something like Johnny Carson or something, and the guy who hosted the show said, "Man, you're a fortunate guy being hooked up with all these guys like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre." And then Don Juan looked at him and said, "No, you got that all twisted, sir." He said, "What do you mean? I got it twisted?" He said, "Snoop Dogg was fortunate to be with me." He said, "When I first met Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, and he mentioned all they were wearing gym shoes and stuff." He said, "Now I got them in Armani suits and alligator shoes." He said, "They driving Rolls Royces. They ain't doing that crazy stuff like they used to do." He said, they're the fortunate ones, not me." And you know what? Don Juan is telling the truth.
Yep, he
Telling
sure is. Yeah. Well, look, I got to ask 2 questions before you get out of here. The first question is, will you come back and see me again?
Excuse me, I thought that was already understood.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Always got to get it on the record.
Yes, sir.
Now,
You got it.
the second question I need to ask you is, what would you like to leave with the people before you leave today?
Uh, I've been doing this practically all my life, all my adult life, and they were the reason that I did it. It wasn't Sam. I wasn't looking for personal gratification or personal satisfaction. Don't get me wrong. When I gave it a major event and it was turned out to be successful, I got a tremendous amount of satisfaction from it. But you enjoying yourself at my events was the reason that I did it, not me. You were the reason. If you're listening to me and you say, "Well, there's a record where I think Eddie Kendrick said it. I did it all for you," and that's what I want them to understand.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. You know, I love you. You've been my brother and friend a very long time. It never ceases to amaze me. Every time I come around, Sam, he'll start advertising. Dr. Ron in the house. This is the only doctor I know. And I appreciate that because, hey, some folks may not remember who I am, but you know, you have never forgotten me, and I appreciate that, my brother.
And you know what, Dr. Ron, what the thing that stands out with me is someone mentioned it when I was at this other club over on 75th. They said when they step in the door, when they step inside the door, before they got in the actual club, Sam was saying so and so in the house, and I
Right.
and he said the guy said, how do you remember all of those people's names? I don't know, but it's just a gift that I have. I'm gonna
Yeah.
remember everybody. And if I don't know your name, and if you're a good dancer, I'm gonna send somebody out to find out your name.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go. Well, once again, man, thank you for coming on the show today. We're gonna do this again before the year is over with, man, because I know you got more legendary stories to
Oh my
tell.
God, yes.
Yeah, we can do this for hours and hours, but we only got an hour today. You stay right there. We're gonna move right along. I want to invite everybody to come out and hang out with me each and every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Street News Now. We have a show called Six Guys and You. I promise you, you will not forget it. Once you become a fan, you'll love it and you'll enjoy it and you'll keep coming back for more. Also, come check me out each and every Saturday at 12 noon Central Standard Time right here on YouTube from the desk of Dr. Ron, where I throw out little commentaries, things to make you think, encourage you, keep you motivated. You definitely need to come and check me out each and every Saturday. Once again, I want to invite everybody to go over to ask-dr-ron.com. Please support all of my advertisers. Once again, they make it possible for me to do what I do, and I appreciate you all that have made contributions up to this point in time. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. And please subscribe, like, and share. Please share this show. You know, we're going to post it on Facebook. We're going to post it on Twitter. And you guys can go look at it over and over again on each one of those mediums. But thank you for enjoying what we had to offer for today. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday.